Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and welcome back to another episode of Possapedia, Beyond Politics into Understanding. My name is Wafi Izzuddin. I'm the chairperson of Political Science Student Association, and I'll be your host today. We're gonna hosting one of our esteemed lecturer, Dr. Lee Pei Mei, who is specializing into international political economy.
Thanks for having me, Wafi. I'm happy to be here. I'm the assistant professor in IIUM from the Department of Political Science and Madani Studies.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Lee Pei Mei, and thank you for accepting our invitation to be our esteemed lecturer for this episode. So today we're gonna talk about the idea of debt trap. And whenever we hear about foreign-funded mega projects, the immediate reaction from the social media would be that, oh, now we're selling our country to another foreign entity. We're selling our sovereignty. We're losing our sovereignty. Um, for example, in the case of ECRL, but looking at the ECRL, we actually went back to the drawing board. We negotiate the deal, lowered the costs, and push for more local involvement. So, Dr. Lee, my question is doesn't this renegotiation show that Malaysia actually has a lot more bargaining power than people think? How do you prove that we're actually the one who's calling the shots here?
Well, actually, it's true. When people think about renegotiations or negotiations between bigger power and smaller powers, people will automatically think, oh, so the smaller powers has no bargaining power, we have no agency. But actually, that's not true. Just like what you have explained just now. The fact that we are able to go back to the negotiating table with China demonstrates that Malaysia is actually a very sovereign country and we're autonomous. And actually, Malaysia holds intrinsic value to China. Our economy are interdependent with one another. And therefore, when Malaysia says that the price tag of ECRL is too high for us, China immediately welcomed the idea of, negotiation. So it does demonstrate that, even smaller countries, even we are structurally weaker in relations to bigger power like China, we still are able to have our own leverage.
I see. I mean, because this kind of question also exists because they are also responding to the issue of Sri Lanka, where they are totally, I would say, bankrupted, where the whole economic quote unquote collapse due to the debt that is provided by the China, and they are unable to pay. But I would say that in this case, we can see that the China itself are okay to renegotiate, and let's open the table back. What are we the deals that we have before? So I think it seems that w- we have a choice, and they are willing to cooperate with us in that manner.
Yeah.
So
Can I just get back
yes.
to you a little bit about Sri Lanka? So actually, many actually mistakenly thought that the Sri Lanka case is a classic example of debt trap diplomacy. Actually, it's not. The initiative to lease the port actually comes from Sri Lanka because they are in a debt crisis. Actually, they only owe around 10 to 15% of their total external debt to China. So actually, they owe more to other parties. For example, IMF around and World Bank, all these 20 to 25%, and also other private international financial institutions. So the purpose of Sri Lanka wanting to lease their port is because they want to raise the cash. But people often thought that, oh, this is coming from China. So there is this misunderstanding.
I see. Well, I learned something new today. Going to another question. Maybe the case, for a lot of us, we just see ECRL as a faster way to travel. I can go eating nasi kerabu in the morning, and I can be in my home in Klang within 4 hours. But historically, we know East Coast is heavily underdeveloped comparatively to West Coast in terms of major industrial development. So beyond just moving people from point A to point B, from Kota Baru to Klang, from Gombak to Rantau Panjang, how is this railway actually going to reshape the economy? How does laying down this track can somehow magically create new industrial hubs and bring serious jobs into the East Coast?
I think like what you say, the reason why they have this ECRL is to actually bridge the development gap between the West and the East Coast. With this railway, we are able to reduce the traveling time by half actually, from around 8 hours to by car to 4 hours. So what does it mean is that for people in the East Coast, which do not have much job opportunities, they will now be able to go to the West Coast to actually work. And not only that, they have this economic accelerator programs that comes with this ECRL project, which aims to enhance infrastructure near stations, ECR stations, that are possibly can attract more tourists. So, for example, one of the station is Cherating Station. So they're going to enhance the infrastructure there, and with the hope that people would take ECRL more frequently to Cherating, and then that can develop coastal tourism, hospitality. So it will brings a lot of benefits to the locals. Not only that, I think this ECRL is also meant to connect port to port, Kuantan Port to also Klang Port. So with the hope that there will be more cargo that travels using ECRL apart from the passenger. So this will actually bring more sort of like more business opportunities for the locals, where foreign investors may think that, okay, I want to invest, like just now say Malaysia China Kuantan Industrial Park. They would want to invest there because now you have this link between port to port, so it's convenient for them to travel to bring the goods to from one point A to point B. Yeah.
I think for that matter, if we take a look in terms of the geography aspect as well, we basically see Singapore in that manner. Yeah, so basically we can say that if there is a ship coming from the East Asia, be it Japan or China, you can just like maybe stop at MCKIP and just like go just straight to Klang, straight from the MCKIP to Klang Port. But yeah, of course, I'm not sure how the industrial part actually the logistics and legal aspect in that manner, but it shows that the connectivity is quite the key aspect to ensure that the economic development can be made in the area where, especially in this case, East Coast, which is heavily, to me, is heavily underdeveloped. Let's talk about the phrase that everyone loves to throw it in the social media, the debt trap diplomacy. It sounds terrifying, but this idea of funding the ECRL is going to sink our economy and leave future generation footing an impossible bill, in a way that we take so many debt to the point that we, as the younger generation, we have to pay the debt that this current generation are taking. So if we put the scary headlines aside and looking at our financial experts, and the IMF are actually saying that we are actually in a very in a good position of public debt. So what's the reality of our public debt in your opinion? Are we actually managing this massive price tag safely?
I think actually Malaysia managed our public debt pretty well. For the federal debt levels is around 60+% of our GDP, which is okay because in recent years Malaysia passed in short, Fiscal Responsibility Act, which does not allow our federal government to have debt beyond 60% of our GDP, except, for example, if there is a temporary crisis like COVID-19, and therefore we raise it temporarily. But generally, with this act, it says that we should keep our federal debt level to below 60% of GDP. So with this introduction of this act in 2024, it will ensure that we won't borrow excessively for mega infrastructure project. Okay. And again, we go back to the renegotiation. Earlier on, people will say that, the price to just develop, to construct this railway is so high. It's 66 billion ringgit Malaysia, excluding other costs like, land development and things like that. So it was very high, inflated, in fact, some says. But then we went for the renegotiation. We're able to cut down by 1/3 prices, and then we readjusted later to now to be around 50 billion ringgit Malaysia. So this is something at this price. This is something manageable, and also what I say, we have this Fiscal Responsibility Act, so we are not afraid that in future our government will overspend on mega infrastructure program like this. So our debt level will always be at a sustainable level. And moreover, with this introduction of Fiscal Responsibility Act, it makes it mandatory for the Ministry of Finance to actually report several documents in the Parliament. So this will increase transparency. So meaning to say that the Ministry of Finance cannot suddenly say, I want to give more money for the
during
ECRL
the budgetary,
or even out of the budgetary. They cannot, because now it's compulsory, mandatory for them to report in the Parliament.
So back then it is not mandatory for them to
yeah.
report. Oh, I
They
see.
can have like behind the scenes sponsoring, closed door. They can decide they want to raise before this introduction of the Fiscal Responsibility Act, there is no cap to how much federal debt level
Can
should
be
be.
used without,
It can be going high up. Yeah. So which this act, is like the safeguard lah.
Yeah. There is like a safety mechanism, like if they want to do something, they still have to propose.
Yeah, they have to make it clear, present it to Parliament.
Yeah, actually nothing much from me in that part, because to be honest, it was quite technical to me actually. But it is, I learned something new about the Fiscal Responsibility Act, where the government, or the federal must present in the Parliament if they were to be
exceed the 60% of GDP of the federal debt level. Yeah.
All right. So may I ask, if I go back to the aspect of ECRL, like we know that one of the agreement is like with the involvement of the local industry and the construction. Additionally, it also cutting costs to one out of a third. One of the problem that we also have today, given the fact that we are giving local industry, is the delay of the completion of. But I also believe that it is also an intergovernmental issue, where the state and federal have a different and overlapping jurisdiction, where we might have like contoh, the construction planning is within Hutan Simpan, or even it also in the same case in the EKVE highway, where the construction planning is supposed to be in the upper a reserve forest, but in this case there might be an issue of that, because if you can see not in Gombak, I mean in Gombak you can see the construction is still ongoing, but it's really hard in the case of Selangor to create that particular construction due to this kind of issue, the overlapping. Yeah. So I think moving to the next question. So doctor, following up on that fear, people see stories from other parts of the world and worry, like, what if we default? Where are we? What if we are the one who is at fault here? Will a foreign country just swoop it and seize our railway and take over our ports? Like, will from maybe MCKIP to CKIP?
I think it's highly unlikely lah, given what's happening within Malaysia. Like I say, when our government sense that the cost of construction for certain project is so high, they will rather cancel it, or they will rather go for renegotiation. Actually, we have one high-speed rail, which we actually canceled it. It was to connect from Malaysia to Singapore, because we think that it's not something that we need, and it comes at a high cost. To be honest, to get profit out of infrastructure development project is really long, and actually probably it will last for many decades, and you still cannot get back the amount of investment. And that purpose, and therefore this kind of infrastructure, mega infrastructure, is usually led by the government, because government is not profit oriented, right? They basically want to improve the connectivity so that there is a spillover effect. So therefore, that's
Pretty unlikely.
In the case of Malaysia, because we've seen in the past where the government thinks that it's not sustainable, the debt, that we go for renegotiation, and we successfully reduce the cost of ECRL. And not only that, something I would like to touch on is also I would think that as a smaller country compared to China, we are really good in negotiating, because not only that we are able to reduce the price, we're able to increase the local participation from 30% to 40%, which is very important, meaning that it's going to give more job opportunities for our people, and it can provide more social stability, of course,
see.
you know.
But legally speaking, when talking about the case that the theory, like maybe like somehow you said it is pretty highly unlikely, right? But legally speaking, how well protected are we? Like what kind of like black and white safeguards that Malaysia have in place to guarantee that our national asset stays strictly ours and not no matter like what happened?
Well, we have a contract with ECRL. That contract clearly state that all these assets belongs to MRL. So CCCC is just the contractor helping with the construction, and also the renegotiation, we ask for them to also stay here to help manage. And this is important because I think Malaysia doesn't want them to just build and go.
I just realized that ECRL is part of the plan of BRI, the Belt Road Initiative, where they want the whole road is connected, and China is the one who starts it. So may I ask, like, is this actually the case? Is this the reason why ECRL is ECRL now? I mean, like, is ECRL is the reason why China is coming to into Malaysia?
Of course, ECRL is part of the BRI project. I think there is this misperceptions about BRI, is that people thought that every project that was in the host country is the ideas comes from China. But actually, I did an interview with the former Minister of Transport. He actually said that the idea to build ECRL actually comes from Malaysian side, and it has been for decades that we wanted to do this, but because the cost is very high, it's very difficult for us to get the funding for it. So when the Chinese counterpart, they know about this thing, they come to us and offer, saying that, okay, we were able to provide funds for you to construct this railway.
So given that we say that it is, we want to do it, but we just don't have much of a financial capacity to do so, then that is China comes in. Just like any other, I would say that there is just like any other foreign entity or government or businesses who wants to do business with us. I mean, they see opportunities. We are creating that demand. Then they come in lah. I mean, in the case of ECRL, that will be China.
Yes.
Last one, doctor. I feel like if it feels like Malaysia is walking to a massive tightrope right now. We desperately need infrastructure. We have to protect our national budget, and we also have to survive the current geopolitical tug of war. So let's zoom it out, Dr. Lee. How does the ECRL reflects our broader survival strategy? Do you think Malaysia is writing a new playbook, maybe, or model for how other Southeast Asian country can build mega projects without getting played by bigger powers? I mean, for example, we just have a discussion about Sri Lanka.
Okay. Oh, I think another thing I want to mention is that we have to look at the source of financing. At current, it's only 75% funded by China Exim Bank and 25% from our local Malaysian financing, where the government issue sukuk bonds. So meaning to say that we're not 100% relying on foreign funding. Okay, foreign funding, they are usually in foreign currency. So this will put Malaysia at a risk where there is a exchange rate volatility. So, but if we actually fund our project partially from issuing of bonds, like sukuk bonds, in our ringgit Malaysia, this will give us a rather a bit of stability in terms of the amount of repayment we have to repay in the future.
So mean to say that we share our debt. I would say that responsibly or like fairly. Can we say that?
Maybe we diversify our risk or minimize our risk,
I see.
depending too much on foreign fund.
All right. Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Lee. I think uh, I think that is will be the end of our podcast for today's episode. But before I'm ending this episode, I have two things to ask for to clarify. I would say to you and the audience as well. Might of you, lots of you, seeing this book in the middle, which is the Governance of China. We actually receive it from the embassy out of the reading forum of the Governance of China, chapter 5. Basically, all of the Xi Jinping's readings and lectures. Thank you everyone for listening to the podcast of Possapedia today. So we really hope that you gain something today and while walking, driving, or even religiously listening to this. So what we really hope that we're going to have another episode of Possapedia. It can be our lecturers, it can be someone outside of our organization, or it can be anyone that might be your interest. So stay tuned to our Possapedia, Beyond Politics into Understanding. The one who is calling the shots here. Dah. Next. Oh, boleh. Thank you everyone for listening to our Possapedia pod. Right. Have a nice day. Bye-bye, Doctor. Chapter 5. This is not a sponsored video. The reason we put this, we're just doing it for fun. Okay. Listening to the idea of like how the debt trap diplomacy, not even I'll say debt trap pula. Thank you, Doctor. Alright.
Thank you.
Ayo balik ke mana?
Ready? 3, 2, 1, action.
Literally? It's not debt trap. Literally. Stay tuned. Goodbye. Religiously listening to this podcast. So, aduh. Thank you. Brain fart pula. Sorry. Okay. Oh, guess. Possapedia. Okay. Thank you, guys, Possapedia. Thank you. Our Possapedia, Beyond Politics into Understanding.